I had no intention of watching this morning's game. Well, maybe a little. Um, I knew Vancouver was playing Minnesota, and that's a layup for Minnesota, right? If Minnesota won today's game, they clinched a playoff spot. All they had to do was win a home game against a team that has been bad on the road all year. Couldn't do it. They couldn't get it done. The Canucks were full value for that win, but I'm telling you, Darcy Kemper's career as an NHL goaltender, the days are numbered on it. He's he didn't look very good today, and you need your backup to play well, and he didn't play well. At the other end of the ice was this Bachman guy for the Canucks again, who won another game, looked good, 25 saves on 27 shots. Had the shutout till there was 3 minutes left in the game, and Minnesota woke up. But I got to say, for a guy nobody's talking about, Bachman's looked good in 3 games in a row. And I always hear Vancouver talking about, well, it's going to be probably Miller and Backstrom again next year, or not Backstrom, Markstrom next year. And Demko's waiting in the wings. It's like, meanwhile, Bachman's having a really good game. Bachman's a good goaltender. I don't understand why he's not in Vancouver's plans, but if he isn't, there has to be a GM somewhere who's going to look at his numbers, watch highlights of his games, and say, huh, this kid isn't bad. I'm baffled. Baffled, befuddled, bewildered. Lots of B's in there. But it was a rough game if you're a Minnesota fan. No doubt on that one. Suter and Stahl get the goals late to make it look closer than it was. Vancouver, in terms of the actual play in the game, it was 50-50 between Vancouver and Minnesota. But the goaltending was a big difference. Big difference. So Minnesota now has lost 9 out of 11. Well, they've lost 10 out of 13. This is the wrong time of year to be playing poorly. That team that I watched play the Canucks today, that team isn't going anywhere in the playoffs. Now, I'm not saying that Minnesota's not good enough to get it done in the playoffs. I'm saying that as they're playing right now, they're not getting it done. The Canucks were definitely the looser team. Brock Boeser looked fantastic. I'll get into that in a minute. But Minnesota's supposed to be better than this. Minnesota's supposed to be a contender. They're supposed to be good enough to stay up there. Right now, that 94 points in terms of overall in the NHL puts them behind Washington, Pittsburgh, Columbus. They're tied with the Rangers. They're behind Chicago. They're only ahead of San Jose because San Jose's also gone into the tank at the wrong time of year. This is what happens. This is why you'll see a team that has a really good record during the regular season, and then in the playoffs they just crap out because they peak early in the year. And by playoff time, there's nothing left. And I don't know how much of that is going on with Minnesota. And like I said, the goaltending definitely didn't help their case today. But that's tough. That is tough to watch if you're a Minnesota fan. I enjoyed the game because I'm a Canuck fan, admittedly. And I have to say, Baertschi's play when his stick broke and him kicking the puck to Horvat was fantastic. That is the kind of play that can definitely sway me on Baertschi's upper limit on what his cap is. The sky's the limit really for a Horvat Boeser Baertschi line. We saw some of it today. And Boeser going to the net and burying the puck as it laid there in the crease, that's what a goal scorer does. Boeser was coming off of a double overtime game last night for North Dakota. I believe it's North Dakota. I'll say North Dakota. I believe it's North Dakota. Played for North Dakota last night. Double overtime game this morning playing in Minnesota for the Canucks. With teammates he had about 10 minutes to get to know. Fantastic. Boeser is going to be a good player for the Canucks. I don't know that in the last 9 or 10 games he's going to play here. I don't know that he's necessarily going to score 4 or 5 goals and score 9 or 10 points and show that he's going to be this future force for the Canucks. But based on today, I would bet against it. Reed Boucher with 2 goals. Nice to see him get a couple. He's been working really hard. He hasn't been getting the ice time under Desjardins. I don't think Willie Desjardins is a coach that the Canucks are going to look to into next year for coaching the kids. I think Desjardins is a good coach. I think he's underrated as a coach, but I think during the summer they're going to move towards a coach for the kids, and I really see Travis Green being that guy. I think Travis Green is the heir apparent in Vancouver, and whether he's good or bad as a coach, he's going to be the guy. Interesting too that Demko has now won 10 out of 11 for Utica. He's put up fantastic stats, and now Utica looks like a contender in the American League going into the playoffs there. So the future is not as dark and as gloomy for Vancouver as I may have made it appear. It's just I don't know that the team has that forward to rely on, that Patrick Kane type, that Crosby type. I don't see that franchise forward in there. Horvat may become good enough, and with Boeser and Berchi, if they can build depth behind them, they may be able to score by committee, and they may not need that number one player, that big star player, like Edmonton has with McDavid. Calgary, you could argue that with Gaudreau, you could argue with Monahan, you could argue with a few of them. Maybe Vancouver can do it by committee, but and Levy has the potential. He scored last night for London Knights. They lost, but he scored. And for Vancouver fans, what's important is he scored. Kind of a poor start to the season. He's picked it up since then. And for Canuck fans, it's important that he plays well. And I didn't, in previous video where I talked about which team has the best future, I couldn't put a check down that the Canucks have a franchise goalie in Demko or a future whatever, because it would sound odd since he hasn't played an NHL game yet, and it would sound biased, and so there's that. But Vancouver's future looks a lot brighter today, right now, than it did 24 hours ago, because the whole cloud of would Boeser sign, would Boeser become a free agent, is he another VC, is he another Gardner? No. Is he another Schultz? No. This kid wants to play for Vancouver. He clearly was having fun tonight. It was nice to see his family was there. Good environment, good feeling, and there's a different mood now with the Canucks than what we saw through most of this season. There's a lot of good young kids that clearly are coming together, and this game was something they can build on. I'm not worried about where they are in the draft. I've had people, I had a guy at work even say to me, "Oh, what are they doing winning? We want that good draft pick." A, there's a lottery for the first 3 picks, so there's no guarantee you're going to get one of them. And B, I'd rather see them play well down the stretch, considering it's not a great draft. So there's that. I will be back later to talk about tonight's games, to do a bit of a preview for tonight's games and where we're at. But for now, this is the preview of, I think, what's to come for the Canucks. Let me know in the comments section below what you think, especially if you're a Canuck fan, of course. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. And if you're not a Canuck fan, go look at my other videos. There's tons of other stuff that I talk about that's not Canuck related. But for today, Brock Boeser's debut, fantastic. He did play limited minutes. I'm okay with that due to the fact that he played a lot in this tournament and he's got to be tired. So looking forward to seeing more of him. Looking forward to seeing more of what this team has. And for God's sake, give Richard Bachman a chance. Seriously, don't re-sign Miller for $4 or $5 million. Keep Markstrom. Re-sign Bachman. Go with that as your goaltenders next year. You're probably not going to make the playoffs anyways. Go with them, save the money on Miller, and go out and get a forward or a defenseman. Makes a lot more sense. Let me know what you think about that in the comments below too. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you all again soon.